So, here we have the Princess Leia big cameo episode. It's actually a pretty good one, and not just because it has Princess Leia in it, but also because it does a pretty decent job of her. One of the things I like is that she shows up and she's very Princess Leia. She just immediately takes charge and is completely on top of everything and talks her way around everyone. You'll notice the lieutenant, List or Leist or something like that. He's the new recurring Imperial in Lothal. Anyways, he shows up and he's like, "Hey, yes, I have you completely outmaneuvered, and I'm going to give my very thinly veiled accusations to you." And then she immediately turns that back around on him and just smacks him down with it. It's a nice touch, and I like it. I also love how she doesn't get flustered at all, despite the fact that this is her plan, which is getting kind of wrecked in the process. And it is a good plan that she had, admittedly. I also love the little tidbit the lieutenant says earlier. Another Alderanian delegate. I'm so sick of it. He doesn't actually say that, but you can just tell, right? I like to think that Alderaan has been a horrific thorn in the side of the bureaucracy of the Empire for the last 15 years. And all doing it completely above board, of course. Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about Alderaan and... well, you know what's going to happen there. But anyways, so then they put a boot on the ships. They actually came up with space boots. Wow. I'm actually impressed with that. Holy crap. And the hammerheads show up, of course, as a deliberate reference to KOTOR. They were, in fact, deliberately intended to be... they mentioned in the episode, that there's, oh my god, those terrible old ships. And it's like, well, that's all we got. I mean, Alderaan is a peaceful world, after all. But I like the Old Republic reference, but I find myself wondering, how frustrating must it be as a creator to be inherently limited in what you can do by basically what the bosses say? I know that Filoni and several of the writing staff for both Clone Wars and Rebels are big Star Wars fans, big EU fans, to be slightly more specific, and have expressed many times in interviews a desire to bring more of the EU into their shows, and thus kind of effectively weave that into the AU as a consequence. But I mention that because they're almost constantly restrained from actually doing that, because, well, you can't actually do that. So it's like, we'll put a reference here, a reference there, maybe rename a thing or two. We'll get it in there for the fans. That'll be coming up later this season, too, consequently. There's a nice bit where Ezra has just found, he's still recovering, of course he is, and Leia obviously sympathizes with him. And Kanan mentions how it's difficult being his age and having the responsibility he does. I remind you that Leia is 2 days younger than Ezra. They're basically the same age. And it's hard to think that, but remember, Leia and Luke both were really young. They were not even 20 when A New Hope came around. And I point that out because it showcases how, well, one of them, Leia, had to stand up and take responsibility from an extremely young age. Now, since she's part of royalty, that's kind of understandable, but at the same time, you can see how a lot of that is due to her influence and aspects of the rebellion. Excuse me. Now, I bring that up as well because I want to mention one other little thing here. I really like the idea, and of course this is never going to be expanded on because we'll not see Leia again on the show, but I like the idea that Leia would have a more literal, direct connection to Ezra than most other people, since not only is she his age, but she has gone through a lot, just like he has. In fact, if anything, and this might be stretching a little bit too much, I imagine one of the reasons Leia ended up gravitating towards Luke is for the exact same reason. Obvious, Force, blah, 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 but you get the point. So, there's this bit where Leia comes out with, fake stormtrooper and fake stormtrooper cadet, and she says, "Oh yes, this brave trooper just saved me from the rebels. He should get a medal." You can tell right there she's lying, because there's no way a stormtrooper could actually do anything competent. Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't avoid the joke. I also want to mention, while we're on the subject, that they've mentioned several times how the AT-ATs, the prototype AT-ATs, are big, horrible, terrifying things, and oh my god, what am I going to do? Even some of the visual directing of them during the escape and the heist is trying to emphasize how dangerous and terrifying they are. And then Kanan runs forward and just kind of effortlessly chops down one of them, without even really trying. Just, what? Whatever, whatever. I do like Azadi's reason for joining towards the end, Clancy Brown's character, because the way I interpret it is he didn't want to join before because it's just a bunch of kids and dissidents who are throwing rocks. That's not going to accomplish anything. And that's kind of what the the rebellions, plural, have been up to this point. When he went back into prison, what was the rebellion, right? Remember, that was 8 years ago. But now, with this operation, he sees that they are a more cohesive military operation. Someone who can actually, or some group, I should say, who can actually take action against the Empire and accomplish things. In other words, someone who might have a prayer, a distant hope of a prayer, at actually accomplishing something. And that's why he's decided to join up. It wasn't just fear, although I don't blame him for that, for his very understandable fear here. But it was because, why would I throw away my life for nothing? Oh, well, now I'm not throwing it away for nothing. So, okay, yeah, sure, I'll join up. It's a nice little touch, and I like it. Good episode all around, and I enjoyed it very much. I'll see you next time.